Hey, this is my story time video. This is my first story time video, so please bear with me. I'm trying to do this for the first time without. I'm trying to look into the camera, but I just have this habit of just wanting to look up to see how I look. Um, but today's story is going to be about when I got diagnosed with bipolar. Well, I'm going to start off with the before. The before, um, I was in a relationship with someone, and they kept on telling me how mean I started to be, and how my moods would change, and how, sometimes I would be sad, sometimes I would be, very quiet and, just standoffish and not wanting to be around anybody and just wanting to be alone and just I had just become a hobbit, and anyone that knows me knows that I have always been this social butterfly. That um, I would just be amongst friends all the time. You know. Well, this particular guy that I was in a relationship with, he kept on telling me, you really need to go and seek help, and we would get into these heated arguments about it. And he would be like, there's something wrong with you. You really need to go seek help. There's something wrong with you. And for many years I had been told in my family that mental illness is just something that it was just taboo. You know. Um, there was no such thing as mental illness. There was no such thing as the only thing was is that you were either sane or you were crazy. And to admit that you had some type of mental illness was to admit that you were crazy. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. He would be like, there's something wrong with you. And I would be like, I would be like, fuck you. I'm not crazy. It's nothing wrong with me. Fuck you. And I would just use the most vulgar language that I could use in order to express to him that I wasn't crazy, and that I really felt like the more I carried on that way, the more crazier I looked, and I would just get infuriated. Like I would see like red, it would be like bloodshot. My eyes would be so bloodshot from just screaming to the top of my lungs that I'm not crazy. Fuck you. I'm not crazy. Get the fuck out of my face. And just, I would call him all kinds of names, and I would just say all kinds of terrible things to him. And then it came to a point where I started throwing things. Um, and Unfortunately, he knew enough to realize that the police calling the police wasn't going to help matters. It was just going to make me hate him even more. And then the reservations came. The reservations came, and I started feeling like I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted to be by myself, and I just went off into my own little space, and I started watching a lot of television. And as I was watching television, I started to notice the weirdest thing. I started to notice I started crying at every single thing. I would cry um, if I saw a commercial. There was a commercial. It could be any kind of commercial. It could be a commercial for deodorant, and I'd start crying. I could start crying if I heard a certain jingle on television. I would start crying. It was like, and he would come into the room and he would say to me, "What's wrong? What's wrong with you?" And I would be like, "Nothing." Or he would ask me, "Why are you crying?" And I would say, like, "I don't know. I don't know why I'm crying." But I would just find myself in these moods where I would just want to cry. And then, but for the most part, I would curl up in a ball and I would do nothing but sleep all day and all night. And when I was up, I was just an annoyance. I was just, just doing everything and anything that I possibly could to keep that person from saying to me the same thing over and over again, because he was so concerned about me. He would be like, "Go get help, go get help, go talk to somebody, go talk to somebody." And I would be like, "I don't want to talk to nobody because there's absolutely nothing wrong with me." you know And I don't know. I there was something that just came. It was just something one day that just, I don't know if it was a sign from God. I don't know what it was, but I just had this calm feeling that just came over me that told me that everything was going to be all right, and that it was okay for me to go and at least sit and talk to someone. So I went and I found someone in my community. I found a organization in my community. Uh, and I will put the name of that organization in the comments. So you guys, if you, anybody that lives in my area wants to, needs to seek some type of help, they will be able to. But I'll put it in the comments under this video. Um, but um, I found this organization in my community, and um, I went there, and I didn't know what to do. I mean, I didn't know what to say or anything like that. Why am I still looking up? I didn't know what to say or anything like that. I just said to them, I need to speak to someone. So I met this counselor while I was there, and we got to talking, and he came. He talked to me just like we were having a conversation. He asked me who I was, and he asked me what my interests were, and what was I doing, and what type of career I was in. And I told him that I worked in the entertainment industry, and I told him that I was a singer. At the time, I was a singer, and I told him that I played piano and so on, and we got into, we started to develop a rapport based on that, because he just so happened to be a big fan of jazz, and so that I happen to be a big fan of jazz, and that's how my relationship with this counselor started. And you know I was able to, he we didn't really say much on that day. He just gave me an appointment to come back the next time, and honestly, I really looked forward to seeing him again. He told me that he was going to set me, because he was a psychologist, so he wasn't someone that could prescribe any type of medication. And I'll get more into that. I'm going to do a series of videos on mental health, and I will get more into that with you guys. But getting back to the story, he he told me he was going to make an appointment for me to see a psychologist, someone that would be able to prescribe some type of medication to me, because he had made a determination that it was a possibility that medication could help me, and unfortunately he was not able to diagnose me. See, because only a doctor can really diagnose you with whatever mental illness that you are dealing with. So, made an appointment for me to see a doctor, and in the meantime, I started having these sessions with him, and the more and more that I had these sessions with him, the more he started to get to know me as a person. And so it was kind of like a friendship. It felt kind of like a friendship, but at the same time, it wasn't a friendship. I knew that he was. I could differentiate the fact that he was a doctor, and that these were things that he needed to ask me, and I was very comfortable with answering the questions, because they weren't. He wasn't asking them in a way in which they were. I would find them offensive or anything like that. And at the same time, when I was telling him about some of the issues that I was having, he was giving me tools that I could use to deal with what was going on with me in the meantime before I saw a doctor. So at one point in time, at some point, I was able to see a doctor. And I saw the doctor, and he really got into depth of in terms of the questions that he would ask me. And he asked me some real hard, tough questions. And I guess he had to ask me these questions to make sure that, medication was going to be the thing that was going to be able to help me. And so, he asked me these questions, and, he finally gave me some medication to try. He gave me what they would call, like, what those in the medical industry would call a starter pack, where they gradually give you this medication in small doses, and then it works you up to um, a regular dosage. And I went home and I started taking the medication, and in the beginning I felt strange. It made me feel strange. Well, actually, it made me drowsy. So I was sleepy. Like, as soon as I took it, I would take it at night. He advised me to take it at night, so I would take it at night. So it would make me sleepy. Like, I would take it like around 8 o'clock, and by, I'd say, 8:15, I was out and would sleep throughout the whole entire night. And so I continued to take the medication and was very afraid, by the way. I was very afraid of what this medication was going to do to me. I was like, oh, this medication ain't going to do nothing but make me more, um, you know, mental than anything. I was afraid of it. I was very afraid of it, because I was saying to myself, for me to take this medication is for me to admit that I'm crazy. But then after a while, after a period of time of taking the medication, I started to feel normal. Now you ask, what is normal? What does normal mean? Normal means being able to function on a day-to-day basis, like being able to walk outside and being able to carry on a conversation with someone, and even though you may not agree with something that they said, not getting so angry about it. Or when someone asks you a question, sometimes a personal question about yourself, you not getting so angry about it and wanting to just go for the juggler and choke them or something like that. I felt normal. I felt very normal. And I was still scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still not gonna lie, because I was like, how is this medication doing this? And how am I not able to do this without medication? And so I continued to take the medication, and I started to have some very good days. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I had my bad days with it too. Even taking the medication, I had my bad days, because I tell you, with bipolar disorder is really an emotional mental illness, because it takes you on this emotional roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you just feel like this. You know, that's the roller coaster that I've been on for hmm, 10 years. Has it been 10? Has it been, yeah. Yeah, 10 years. That's the roller coaster that I've been on for the past 10 years. And I'm finding that the older that I'm getting, the more manageable it is. And that's only because of the medication and because of therapy. I tell people this all the time. I tell people that I see my therapist twice a month. I take my medication, and I see my therapist twice a month, and she gives me the tools to deal with me. I took the stigma off of having bipolar disorder by realizing and recognizing that I'm special. And that's how God has made me. God loves me so much that He gave me this special task. And this task is to deal with bipolar disorder. Not everybody gets that task, not everybody gets that job from God. And Today I feel amazing. I'm married to the love of my life. I still take my medication. I still see my therapist. And although I have some other mountains that I need to climb, I'm in a better place. That's the most important thing. I'm in a better place. So I'm going to end this video saying this. If you know someone that is dealing with a mental illness, whether it be bipolar disorder, paranoid schizophrenia, and the list goes on, whatever the mental disorder is, try to see if you can seek help for them. And remember, you just can't just throw it at them. You have to be very, very careful of how you present what is going on with them, because everyone is not able to handle it. Some people need time to deal with it in their own time, so don't get frustrated. But find out the resources that are in your area. Find out where you can take them or what you can do. There's plenty of information on the internet. There's plenty of information at social services. There's plenty of information at the local hospital, or there may be a mental health facility in your area that you may be able to go to and get some more information. So, try and seek that out. And for those of you that feel as though you may be dealing with mental illness and you want to get help, some of the signs are mood swings, confusion, hearing voices, and a host of other things. I don't want to tell you what I'm not trying to diagnose anyone or in any type of way, so I'm being very careful of my words. But mental illness is real, guys, and it's a serious thing. And we in the Black community have put such a stigma and a taboo on it, having others think that they're crazy if they are to admit that they have mental illness. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're not. You're not crazy. Who, that word is so harsh. You need to go get help if you need help. And if you cannot get help on your own, have somebody help you. Go see a minister. See a nurse in your area, a friend, a relative that will understand and be unbiased to what you're going through. And maybe perhaps they can, walk with you along the way. It's always best to have somebody with you along the way. Mental illness is a force to be dealt with, and it's really hard to go through alone. But that's my story time for today. As I said, I will put the contact information for the organization that helped me in the comments of this video. And please feel free to leave your comments and make sure that you like and subscribe to our page. I am His Majesty King Tremel McCray, and my husband's name is Joseph McCray, and it's been great. Until the next video, talk to you soon. Peace.